Whether you're into basketball or not, this is the one and only NBA Finals breakdown that you are going to need. I'm here to explain everything you need to know about this year's NBA Finals for the girls, the gays, the theys, and the straight men who don't want to admit they're not watching basketball or just straight up don't want to admit that they haven't been watching these two teams, okay? This year, it's not the sexiest NBA Finals matchup of all time, okay? It's not the Lakers-Knicks, it's not the Lakers-Celtics that the NBA advertisers were probably hoping for, but I think the fans will absolutely love seeing somebody new and younger, a new generation for the NBA, get crowned a champion for the first time. If you're distracted by the big-ass star in the middle of my head that is hot pink, just know I have a pimple in the middle of my forehead that would be a lot more distracting if I didn't have this pimple patch on it, okay? I'm getting the content out to y'all regardless, so just bear with me here, all right? So, setting the stage, this year's NBA Finals are the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Indiana Pacers. I can hear the cows mooing and see the little tumbleweed tumbling across an empty field as I speak because obviously these are some smaller market teams, but both Oklahoma City and Indianapolis are huge basketball towns. Huge basketball towns that have been waiting for this moment. So both of these fan bases are really excited. This is a very unexpected but exciting finals matchup between the Pacers, the team that no one saw coming, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, the team that everyone saw coming, but for some reason no one believed in. OKC has been dominant all year, and the Indiana Pacers are on a playoff hot streak. This finals is full of fresh young stars, and for once, no super teams. We're in a new day in the NBA, let me tell you. A super team is typically when 2 to 3 stars team up in order to win a championship. We saw it with the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and James Harden. We saw it with the Golden State Warriors, also with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. And it seems to be that super teams just aren't the way to go anymore. So let's talk about each team and how they got here. So for the Oklahoma City Thunder, for the Hotties that might have missed it, let's talk about how dominant OKC has been. They have had a historic regular season, okay? 68 wins, tied for the 10th most of all time, the biggest point differential ever, which basically just means they have beaten the most teams by the most points ever, basically. They hand out beatdowns. They're not just winning. They went 29-1 against Eastern Conference teams, which is literally the best interconference record in NBA history, which basically means that Oklahoma City was whipping up on the Eastern Conference teams, which also says something about how much worse the East is than the West, okay? They didn't get to play in a Christmas Day game, which is like the biggest day on the NBA schedule. However, they still dominated all of the headlines because they were on top of the NBA pretty much all season. They've had an absolute postseason takeover. They swept the Memphis Grizzlies. Then they beat the defending champion Nuggets in 7 points. And they blew Denver out in Game 7 by 32 points. I mean, Denver, fight back. They smoked the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 points. The future face of the NBA, Anthony Edwards. This was supposed to be a matchup between the two future faces of the NBA. And SGA said, watch this. And SGA won the MVP award. So Oklahoma City Thunder are just having a year. They have 4 games where they've won by 30-plus points this postseason, which is the most by any team ever. They've just been beating people's asses all up and through these playoffs. To explain why, they have an absolutely locked down defense. They have been #1 in defensive rating in both the regular season and the NBA playoffs. That to say, they basically stop whatever team they're playing from scoring a lot of points, no matter what. They're leading all NBA playoff teams in forced turnovers. Turnovers are just unforced errors, basically. It's exactly what it sounds like. Oop, my bad. They are forcing 18 turnovers a game, okay? And they're leading all playoff teams in points off of turnovers, okay? So not only are they forcing the other team to get rid of the ball, but also when they get the ball, they're scoring points. It's scary, okay? Anthony Edwards described the Oklahoma City Thunder defense as 15 puppets on one string. And all of their core players are still very young, which means that this could be a dynasty loading. And the NBA isn't going to be rid of the Thunder's dominance anytime soon. They are the second youngest team to ever make the NBA Finals, which is exactly why even though they were so good all regular season, nobody really believed in them because they were young and inexperienced. Just 3 years after they finished with one of the worst records in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder are now the best in the West. You've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 26 years old. He is the NBA's most valuable player. Jalen Williams, all NBA, all defense. Chet Holmgren at 23 years old. He's got Defensive Player of the Year potential. And they've got 13 first-round draft picks over the next 7 years to continue building up their legacy. So here's how they win games. They control the turnover battle, which basically means that they make less unforced errors than their opponent. And then when they force their opponent to make unforced errors, they capitalize on that shit. They suffocate your star, okay? Lou Dort has Tyrese Haliburton in a chokehold. He's averaging 12 points per game against Oklahoma City. Then they win by a blowout, okay? They don't just beat you, they choke you, and then they stomp on you, and then they beat your ass by 30 points. If it's close, the Indiana Pacers might be able to sneak a win, but the Thunder rarely let it get close. Now, let's talk about how impressive the Pacers have been, okay? Underdog energy, for sure. They are not supposed to win these finals. I'm going to be real with y'all. They've been overlooked from day one. Despite making the Eastern Conference Finals last season, they had a no Christmas Day game, even though the whole Christmas Day thing was about Beyonce anyways. I mean, the NFL stole Christmas with having Beyonce anyways. NBA, fight back. But that's besides the point. They started off the season very slow. I mean, they were just a 500 team around Christmas time, which basically means they were mid. Okay, they were mid around Christmas time. They didn't even crack 55 wins, but they're peaking at just the right time. This was the spot that everybody thought that either Cleveland, who they beat to get here, or Boston was going to have. And nope, Indianapolis said, don't sleep on Naptown. Their road to the finals has been absolute chaos. First, they beat the Bucks with Giannis and Dame in 5 games, okay? And then Tyrese Haliburton's dad got himself banned from coming to his son's games because he was so goddamn excited about it. I was already not even sure that was going to happen. Then in round 2, they took down the 64-win Cavs like it was nothing, the team that was supposed to be the golden child of the East all season. The Cavs should have gotten the hate that everyone was giving Oklahoma City. Then in the Eastern Conference Finals, they beat the Knicks in 6. Oh, I was rooting for the Knicks. I can't even lie to y'all. 3 games with 30-plus points from Pascal Siakam, your Eastern Conference Finals MVP. They had multiple historic comebacks, so you can't count this team out if it looks like they're down. They were down 7 with 40 seconds left to go versus the Bucks, and they won. They were down 7 with 50 seconds left versus the Cavs and won. And they were down 14 with 2 minutes and 51 seconds left against the Knicks, and they won. They're 7-1 in clutch games, and that's because watching the team, okay, based on my eye test, they don't miss shots. And there are so many guys on this team that can make shots. It's like you can't just focus on one guy and neutralize him and hope everybody else, you're like, okay, we're going to focus on Tyrese Haliburton and let's see if the rest of y'all can get that many points. Oh, no. Everybody on this team can shoot. So if this team is down 7, if they make a couple of threes, they're back in the game. Tyrese Haliburton has had an incredible run in these playoffs. Shout out to him. Voted most overrated by his NBA peers and then said, overrate that. He's averaging 18.8 points a game, almost 10 assists per game, and 5.7 rebounds per game, which basically just means he's dishing the ball out, he's scoring, and he's leading his team. He's doing a little bit of everything. He's absolutely taken over in clutch time, so towards the end of the game when they need him, he's showing up. But he's struggled against the Oklahoma City Thunder, okay? As I mentioned, he's averaging just 12 points per game against them in the last 2 years. So he's not going to be able to do what he did to the Knicks to this team. This is different from the Knicks because the Knicks defense isn't great. The Knicks were great offensively in this postseason, great, but their defense was never what the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense is. This is going to be a different type of beast, okay? And the Oklahoma City Thunder are much deeper than the Knicks, so they're not going to get as tired as the Pacers were making the Knicks get. Now, their coach, Rick Carlisle, okay, he can put on a coaching masterclass. He is a former NBA champion in 2011 with the Mavericks, and he has outcoached every team that his team has faced in this playoffs. He will change the game plan in the middle of the series, okay? He's not afraid to make changes, and he trusts himself. And he has a lot of great players to work with. He built an offense that leads the playoffs in pace and ball movement. The problem is if you're moving around the ball that much and the Oklahoma City Thunder have the #1 defense, they might say, we're taking that. These are going to be the keys to the Pacers pulling off an upset in this NBA Finals. #1 is taking care of the ball, okay? You turn that ball over against Oklahoma City, they are going to capitalize on it, okay? They are going to score points. It's just how it's going to be. And on top of that, they're probably going to force you to turn the ball over a lot. So the least that you can minimize unforced errors, the better against this team. #2 is hitting their threes. Now, they are #1 in three-point percentage this postseason. Have they faced a defense like Oklahoma City's yet? Well, no, but they have so many talented players that can hit threes. When you get that opportunity, you better knock them down, which I have faith in this team to do. And then #3, win the close games. You cannot afford to get blown out by this team. If it starts getting out of hand, they will beat your ass. No mercy. Survive the Thunder's runs because they will happen, okay? And win the close games, and they can actually make this happen, okay? And #4, God. Lots of prayer. Lots of prayer. I mean, get on your knees and pray, maybe fast or something. That might help. If you're right with God, anything can happen. Won't he do it? It might be the NBA Finals, but let's never forget who has the final say. The X factors for Indiana, the side characters, as I like to call them, are going to be Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard. Now, Aaron Nesmith tweaked his ankle a little bit, and I think he tweaked his knee a little bit, actually, too, against the Knicks. He really had his work cut out for him guarding Jalen Brunson. That is something to watch out for because they are going to need them against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams, okay? They're going to have to avoid foul trouble while still staying aggressive, which is really hard as we've taken from the Knicks in the last series, okay? And their team is also going to need some very timely offense from them. They can't just be defensive guys out there and then not be able to score any points. They're going to need everybody to be able to score a little bit because the defense is so good. For Oklahoma City, now they play with something I like to call the power of friendship, and so everybody's good. The main thing is going to be transition defense, okay? Both teams are top 2 in defending transition this postseason, okay? But the Pacers are lethal with a little bit of an advantage. I don't know if that's because of the kind of games Oklahoma City has been playing or what, but that is going to be really important for the Oklahoma City Thunder to look at. They need to control the pace off of turnovers and missed shots. Pace, pace, pace. That is the thing for the Pacers. Pace, huh? The main storylines of this NBA Finals are the youth movement, okay? #1, there are no players over 30 among the top contributors for either team, which is crazy. And on top of that, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander versus Tyrese Haliburton is going to be a very interesting star versus star matchup for us to watch because they're two very different superstars with two very different styles of playing basketball, okay? And then the coaching chess match is going to be interesting. You got Rick Carlisle's experience versus Daigneault. I am like not okay today. But versus a very innovative coach in OKC. Then you've got defensive discipline from OKC versus an incredible offense from Indiana. Okay, so I'm going to give my predictions for the NBA Finals this year. This could go a couple of ways, okay? I do think that the Thunder really have the potential to blow them out of the fucking water. Blow them out of the water, okay? So my mind says OKC in 5. However, I'm predicting that how far this series goes is based on game 1. If the Pacers can pull off a win in game 1, this is exactly how they did the Knicks. It's going to change the momentum of the series, and I think the Pacers are going to put up much bigger of a fight than anyone is giving them credit for, and then lose in 6 or 7. Either way, I got the Pacers losing, y'all. I'm sorry. OKC is way better than anyone gave them credit for, but I do want to shout out the fact that I blame the media. I blame the media for this year's NBA Finals, and that's because they didn't do a good enough job throughout the season, and I could probably throw myself in the mix here, at making sure the world cared about every team in the NBA. Because here's the thing. Neither of the teams in the finals have a player contributing over 30 years old, which means that the stars that we've become accustomed to marketing the game around, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, the 30-plusers, okay, aren't cutting it anymore because you can't get to the NBA finals and then nobody cares because they don't know these people. No one talked about the Indiana Pacers, let alone any team in the East, like all season. And that was such a miss. And I know the Dallas thing with Cooper Flag is going to be on everybody's radar, and Luka and LeBron going into next season. I challenge the NBA media to maybe start watching games other than the ones that are played on the national television broadcast. Yeah, I caught y'all, didn't I? You don't want to pay for League Pass, so you just watch the nationally televised game every day. So you're watching Lakers Warriors 3 times a week. Yeah, I get that, but you might need to get that subscription and start watching like the Pacers and like the other teams that you've been neglecting because nobody warned us about the Indiana Pacers and they are good. Now, I know they were mid in the middle of the season, but it's important to spread the love because these are the new faces of the NBA. They're here. So let's go ahead and prepare for them. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If there's anything else you want to know about these NBA finals, please comment below and make sure you're following the Hoops for Hotties TikTok page so you can keep up with what's going on in the NBA. All right. Love y'all. Mean it. Thanks for watching.